stage. She's my comedy BF. We literally started doing it together. We're still doing it. I'm super proud of her. You're going to love this show. Give it up for Once Upon a Kidney by Amy Witchery.
Appreciate it. I appreciate the support. Give it up to Matt and Lisa and all my receivers. Yeah, I mean, this theater's closing right now at the end of the year. I mean, long story short, it's for sale and usually greed wins over art. So it's probably going to close and it sucks. Matt and Lisa have created this incredible theater space for us for the last decade, and so partially because of it closing, I was like, I need to do this show. So, yeah. And I know those of you that walked through the door had to buy a ticket to get here, but those of you that are online, if you're watching, feel free to donate to Oh My Ribs on Venmo. Yeah, because like Lisa's next livelihood is ending at the end of the year. Sorry to freak you guys out right now, but it is, and so let's help them because of what they've done for the theater community in LA for the last decade. So if you can, I forced myself to do this show because it was closing, and because I was like, oh, I don't really want to do it because it's hard. Okay, it's a really hard thing to do to get up here and talk about all your bits, and it was really vulnerable, and I didn't want to do it to the point that I took a COVID test this morning and said, maybe I'll have to cancel. I was like, maybe I should go, like, I don't know, lick a buggy at the grocery store, maybe? I don't know. But I was like, oh, fuck it, I'm doing it. So here we are. Thank you. So once upon a time, I met a guy named Tracy, and we were both going to school in Chicago in the 1900s. This love story spans multiple centuries, and we started dating. We dated for a few years, and then we broke up for a few decades, but we always stayed in touch. It was, on the phone, landlines, it was letters in the mail, eventually it was email and social media. And we even hooked up in Vegas a few times, as you do, yes. When the timing works out and you and your ex are in Vegas single at the same time, you hook up. So we've always been in touch, and I hadn't seen him probably about a decade. And in 2015, he moved to Oregon. And so I went up there to visit some friends, so we decided to get together and have lunch at a Dave & Buster's. And I was on the way there. This was like the one place I knew, I don't know. I got there the day before, and I was like, what about Dave & Buster's? And so I met him there. I was so nervous. And I got there, and I was like, oh my God, he looks so cute. And I wanted to kiss him, and I was like, oh my God, I was so nervous, you guys. I pounded some fucking Coors Lights, and I was like, oh, I don't know what to do. And he was still in the same vibe, so we extended the dates. We got appetizers, we played games. I mean, the Giant Connect 4 and Papa Shot and all those games, and I dominated, you guys. I dominated. And then he went to Nordstrom with me, and I went shopping for yoga pants just to kind of extend the date, hang out a little bit longer. And then I took a secret shit at Nordstrom in the ladies' lounge because it's fancy and because of the spinach and artichoke dip at Dave & Buster's. And so and we're walking through the mall, and he said he needed a kidney, and I offered to get tested, and then he got a pretzel. I used to lead with my heart. Muscular, skeletal, immune, digestive, reproductive, etc. please. Thank you for your service. You have been loyal workhouses for over 40 years. Never a complaint. Your output has been excellent, and this is changing lives. Some might say it saves a life. You two will be judged and tested beyond your usual limits in the upcoming months, and I have every confidence in your output and efficiency. Now, let me share with you that I know it's going to be challenging, but you are both up for it. I've watched you grow from tiny beans into quite the pair, and this is part of your purpose. With much power comes much responsibility. Well, okay, I am flattered as fuck right now. Okay, I mean, I am overwhelmed and freaking the fuck out, but also feel like a little bit of a boss. Alrighty, I can't do this. How could they ever separate us? We've lived our whole lives together in the same neighborhood. We're so connected to everything around us. Oh, LK, calm down. This is like a rare promotion for one of us. And, you know, about 100,000 people need a new kidney every year. And only about 20,000 of them get it. This is a big opportunity. Alrighty, no, I can't do math when I'm this emotional. I can't help it. I can never ever see us not living together. Oh, LK, you need to calm down. You know we're both going to be together. We'll still share the same bed. One of us will be in Tracy, and one of us will be in Amy. Oh, Riley, you are delusional. You think Amy, after living all this time life by herself, you think she's going to be with someone else? She can't change her ways. She's 44. Oh, okay. Trust me, it's going to be okay. I have it straight from the heart. They're going to get back together, and this one is going to stick. So we started the testing process at UCLA, and they literally test all of your bits, and they test you for everything except weed. So in part of the testing process, you have to do a urine collection for 24 hours. And shout out to my urine collectors. She's a mouse tonight. Lisa, no. So I did my urine collection on a weekend, and you have to keep it chilled. So I had to go into my refrigerator. So I gave it the entire bottom shelf, and it's so fucking disgusting to have piss in your refrigerator. Like, it makes no sense. I do it in the refrigerator now, but so I was collecting it. I got like halfway through the day, and I was like, I don't think I've enough receptacles for all this output. I mean, my output was pretty impressive at the time, and I was then instructed to use empty water bottles and put my piss into that. So that's what I did. And then the next day, getting ready to go to UCLA and take my pee, and I was like, how do I get my pee to UCLA? I've got like 4 Crystal Geyser bottles. I got this jug now. You guys, I used one of those cardboard containers from Ralph's that you get when you buy 6 bottles of wine. So I shoved all those in a carrier and off to my car I went. And at the time, I'm driving my RIP, my 2003 Saturn Vue. Woo! And thank you. And she had some undiagnosed fan belt issues, and we didn't know what would happen. Every so often I'd be driving, she would get hot and overheated, and I didn't know, and she would just start shaking. And I would just like ride it out, because I'm like, what are you gonna do? And it was like embarrassing and scary and all that stuff, but that was my car. So yes, I took my piss in Crystal Geyser bottles in a Ralph's wine carrier box in my shaky Saturn Clamp-It mobile and drove through Beverly Hills, what a thrill, to UCLA. And I get there and I walk in and someone else was doing a urine collection and they had a cooler. Why am I still uncouth? And why did that not occur to me? I was like, yeah, this Ralph's cardboard, this seems like the best representation of me. Why did it not occur to me to bring one of my many igloos? But they tested me for everything. tested me for STDs. I met with a nephrologist, a cardiologist, a dermatologist, a gynecologist. I had scans. It was a full body workup. And they even had me meet with a social worker for an assessment and an evaluation and some oversharing. Yeah, well, I mean, I love Tracy. I want to give him a kidney. Yeah, I didn't see this coming either, but like, I feel like the universe has brought us back together at this time, and like, I mean, I know I'm going to be a match. So, I mean, I've been single for like a decade. I mean, oh my God, my 30s were like a decade-long bachelorette party. Like, I don't feel like I need to be with a man. I surely don't need to give an organ to be with a man, but like, I love him. It's so weird. I just want us to be together. No, I'm like not a religious person. I mean, I grew up Catholic, but I left that I gave it up one year for Lent and it stuck. I mean, like, it doesn't make sense to me, like the backstories of Catholicism. It didn't make sense to me as a kid. It definitely doesn't make sense to me as an adult. Yeah, I know, none of it made sense. And I mean, I even tried. I was like a lectern at St. Something's off the 405. I had to audition to get it, and I was still like, Catholic Church, I just can't do it. And then, like, the bishops are talking about how marriage is between a man and a woman, and then some fucking creeper from the usher started emailing me and like, oh, like, nobody's safe for the Catholic Church. What? Oh, no, you can just say, no, I'm not religious. Sorry. Thanks. Thank you. So the next day, I had a reaction to the contrast dye that they put in me in order to do one of the CT scans. And so like my chest and my neck and then my face started being all red and swelling up. So I had to go on like some steroids and Benadryl for the next few days. And I was like a zombie. And it actually got worse before it got better, but they said I could go to the ER. That sounded like a nightmare. So I just had my neighbors come check on me every 30 minutes to make sure nothing closed up. So it was fine. And then we got the results back, and I had some ovarian cysts. Where my sisters at? Yes. I had some skin cancer. And since there was diabetes in my family, they told me that my A1C was 5.7 and I needed to lower that and to lose 10 pounds. And I shot out, oh my God, I love champagne and candy. Like, oh my God, that's why. And so they told me to, okay, go ahead and get rid of your skin cancer on your abdomen, lose your ovarian cysts, as if you're in charge of them. Yes, thank you. And drop 10 pounds and then come back in 3 months. And like, that's kind of a tall order on a body. That's like a lot of trauma, a lot of recovering. But I did it because I'm codependent as fuck. Okay? The first time my therapist told me I was codependent, I was like, oh no, I'm not codependent, my dad is. But I have a good therapist. Yeah, I mean, it just seems like so much right now. Like, I just had that surgery. I went to Iowa to help my dad. He's not doing well, and I overdid it. And then I came back, and like the stitches in my abdomen that were supposed to dissolve, they didn't, and they started coming out. It looks like maggots. I guess I'm like a stitch spitter. Yeah, they told me that's what it's called when stitches don't dissolve. It's a stitch spitter. I know. It sounds crazy to me too, but I don't know how I'm going to do this. I have to lose 10 pounds. I'm exhausted. I was exhausted, but I was also codependent and ready to prove my love, right? So I worked really hard, and I went to a lot of Barry's boot camp. I went to a lot of hot yoga. I ate a lot of egg white scrambles and salads. You can file all of those under things I don't do now. And sure enough, 3 months later, I went back. I had dropped 10 pounds. My A1C dropped down to 5.3, and we were cleared for surgery. So we set a date for a month out, and then the next day, UCLA called me and said, "Hey, would you consider giving your kidney to someone else?" Who's the uncouth one now? Yeah, it was UCLA. I was like, no, we're kind of only in the kidney game for Tracy. And they said, well, we found someone else you have an even better match with. And I was like, well, what about him? They said, oh no, we've already found another one for him. And it's actually better for him because that kidney is coming from someone that's 10 years younger than you. Sorry, did you just try to sell me on the fact you have something younger for my man and that's somehow better? You're not selling me, UCLA. You did not sell me on that. And so I said, all right, give me, let you know at the end of the week. And I couldn't even sleep that night thinking about my kidney going to someone else. And like, what if that person was a dick? Like, what if that person voted Republican? Guys, this was October 2016. It was finally the big one. Yeah, right? And so I was like, I can't do this. I literally couldn't even think of giving my kidney to anyone else. So the next day I woke up and I didn't sleep. So the next day I just sent them a message and I declined their tacky fucking offer. And then 2 weeks later, my Aunt Darlene dies. And my Aunt Darlene lived in New Orleans. She was like a second mom to me after my mom died, and she'd been super supportive of Tracy and our kidney journey together. We had gone to visit her for her 80th birthday like months before, and just as a life reminder, always take the trip because you never know. And she had passed away. It was a massive heart attack, completely sudden, and so we flew to New Orleans for her funeral. And I didn't realize that that was also the last time I would see my dad and my uncle alive. If you know, you know. Those are both New Orleans songs, St. James Infirmary, and Do You Know What It Means to Miss New Orleans? So we came back from New Orleans, and just a few weeks before surgery, so I was like, well, let's get the floors done and repaint the place. Because obviously my codependency needed somewhere to go. Let's do all that and learn to live with each other again. Tracy moved in, so let's all figure this out in the next few weeks, all while going to work and grieving my aunt. Yeah, and 14 wake-ups later, and it was surgery day, October 26, 2016. Surgery went great. It was very successful. What they do is a robot pokes 3 holes in the left side of my abdomen, and then they blow it up with gas so they can get in there and work. So they go in, they disconnect the kidney, they rewire a few things, and then they take the kidney out right above my puss. So I have a scar that looked like I've been ravaged by childbirth, and I haven't. But the surgery was a success, and The surgeon came to visit me later on that night, and I had asked him to take pictures of my kidney in surgery, which he did. And so he showed them to me, and then I showed him how to airdrop because surgeons don't know everything. And I couldn't go visit Tracy because he was on another floor, but we talked to each other on the landlines. The landlines of the hospital. We talked to each other then. And I was told that he had a record output and that they told me I gave him a golden kidney. And like, I'm competitive, you guys, and that landed a lot. Like that felt like a real thing. So I stayed in the hospital for 2 nights and tried to make me go home after 1. I was like, can I have 2, please? At Boston, Oregon, UCLA. And so I went home, and then a week later, I still hadn't pooped. Well, that's kind of a big deal. And I had been doing everything. I've been taking the stool softeners, Metamucil, coffee, pickled beets, thank you, Chate, pickled everything, and still nothing. And then I did 3 enemas, and I sneezed, and still nothing. So UCLA was like, yeah, it sounds like you need to come back in. I think maybe your bowels are impacted.
Nah, she ain't getting shit out of me. She drugged me, she froze me, and she rewired the neighborhood, and she sent Lefty packing. She ain't getting shit out of me. It's gonna be a hard pass, and by hard pass, it's gonna be hard for her to pass anything. Who invited you?
Well, I saw Fisk, I knocked, I thought I'd come in, see how it was going. I was here a while ago, and now I'm back! Maybe you remember me, I had, my debut at the Moonlight Rollaway. I ended up, incapacitating Amy for almost 6 months. But I've been silent forever, and then there she was, writhing on the floor trying to poop, and I was like, well, I see an opportunity here. I mean, she always gives me such recognition when she does talk about me.
Well, yeah, she needs to talk about me too and my output. But I'm freezing her. Ain't nothing happening now. She's locked up.
So yes, my bowels were impacted, and the surgeon and the social worker called it massive and nuclear. Those are the words they used to describe it. And if you're wondering, how does someone get de-impacted? Well, here's how it goes. The surgeon fisted me, and then he stirred it up like a cement mixer. Did it about 5 different times. I could literally feel like an alien poking out from underside my stomach, and I was like, I think we have to stop this. But sure enough, it worked. So I shuffled down the hallway to the bathroom, and I got in there, and then I knocked over one of those like wet floor signs, and I DIY'd it into a squatty potty. Where my squatty potties at? And then I took like a massive shit, and then I took another massive shit, and then I was like, oh my god, you're gonna be here for a while. So I took a shit break, and then I went up to the door because I could see the nurse, the surgeon, and the social worker. I could see their silhouettes in the frosted glass outside the bathroom. So I went up to the social worker and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna need you to go get my phone from the lobby, the Liz's. And she went and got my phone for me. Do you guys even know that you could shit without a phone? I didn't either. And then I got my phone back, and I shit even more, and then even some more. And then I was like, okay, I think I can take this home. And I felt a lot better. My bits were jacked up. Like my butt, my back, specifically my crack. Like it was all sorts of messed up. But Lisa and I did manage to stop at the gift shop on the way out and get a snack. I got Fritos, everybody. I got Fritos. Because I've been told that Fritos will help you go to the bathroom. And I think under normal circumstances they do, but not in that one. But I was like, let me try some Fritos. And yeah, my bits were fucked up. They were, my body was fucked up. It was really just like a sign of things were about to get shittier. And then the 2016 election happened. Yeah, and then my dad went into the hospital and he got worse. And shout out to my sister for handling that shit show because I wasn't healthy enough to fly. I couldn't go home. I was in too much pain. And a few months later, my dad died. And it was pretty rough. We went back to Iowa for his funeral. And on the day of his funeral, his brother in New Orleans died. Yeah. And then the day after the funeral, Tracy got sick and we had to go to the ER in Iowa. Shout out to gout. I know that's not anything to mess around with. And he was very sick too. We flew back to LA for one day in between funerals. And I went to the office like a fucking moron, and I was trying to do my job, and I was a mess. And I had a client yell at me about something not being done, and then I had a meltdown, and then there I was at 8 o'clock at night on the phone with my therapist at my desk, like, I can't do this. So I had to let my cunty boss know that I was taking leave. I left my Lenovo, and I walked home, and I had a plant that someone had given to me, so I walked home carrying this plant in the dark like Natalie Portman in The Professional. I hope you guys know that reference, it's legit one of my favorites. And then I got in bed for like a month, and I didn't get out, and Tracy and I fought. He didn't want to look at my kidney scars because they grossed him out, and it was just a really, really rough time. And then a few months later, his dad died. So he spent the next 6 months with his family back on the East Coast. And then when he returned, we fought a lot. And we didn't share a bed like the kidneys told us we were going to. And it was pretty fucked up. And one time we got in a fight that was about the TV, except it wasn't about the TV, obviously. And he said something to me like, well, why don't you take the easy way out, like when you say you wanted to kill yourself? And I was like, I'm sorry, did you just throw my mental health at me in a fight? And I started crying, and I was like, I can't believe you did that. Can you just hug me and tell me everything will be okay? And he literally said, I'm not going to give you a hug just because you want me to. I gave this motherfucker a kidney, okay? And so there was a huge power struggle going on, obviously, between my heart and my brain, because if anyone knows how hard it is to be in love with someone and want to be with them, but have it not be a really good thing for you to be in. You gotta do that really difficult thing of walking away. And it's the hardest fucking thing to do. My brain and my heart were in a massive power struggle. And then my clitoris showed up. Oh my god, hi! Does everyone remember me? Oh, hey B, hey Brain, I heard about that big heart hostile takeover. Oh my god, so you're in charge now? Oh my god. So here's the thing, like nobody remembers me. I have been completely fucking forgotten. I used to run things. So, Amy forgot about me, and Tracy job back. Oh, hello, Cliff. Yes, I do remember you. Yeah, I had to take things away from the heart because, my God, the heart believes that, love will conquer all, and, tell me you're a heart without telling me you're a heart, okay? I don't know where I got a lot of things where I can get to you, but I appreciate the input, and I will consider you for a future project. The breakup was really hard for both of us, actually, and it wasn't pretty. On Valentine's Day, after our breakup, he cut off my internet, because that was the one bill he was paying for. And so I'm nothing if not fucking petty to another level. So I still had his Netflix account. So I was in his Netflix account, and then I watched all of the titles that this actor guy used to hook up in were in. So then anytime he would then go to his recently watched, it was a whole list of that. So I see your spectrum of pettiness, and I take you one more to Netflix. So I like to think I won that as well. It didn't mean that I didn't love him. I still wanted to be with him, but I just was gonna fuck with him as much as I could. And the next year, we were still in touch. We would like text fight, and then we would enter into a time where we wouldn't speak at all, and then we would make plans maybe to see each other, and then we wouldn't speak again because something else would happen. We'd get in another text fight about something else, and then he was planning to come out and for one of his doctor's appointments, and we were going to get together and just see each other, and then the pandemic happened, and that appointment got postponed. But then at the height of the pandemic, if it's not everything about all my body parts, then I had an emergency appendectomy. My fucking body's rewired and doesn't know how to operate now. And so I went into the ER, the height of the pandemic, and I had stomach pains, and the first doctor told me that I was constipated and had the flu. And he tried to give me some pain pills to leave, and then told me to leave. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm not going to leave. Something else is happening. So luckily, there's always a shift change at 7 a.m. And a new doctor came on. He was like, let's get a CAT scan. I was like, I love these, but no contrast dye. And so the tech was taking me up to get the test. And he goes, your abdomen looks good from the outside. Oh, okay, great. So maybe you're just upset about a guy. You guys, that's real. And he's like, how old are you? And I stopped answering. I was not even speaking to him at this point, right? And then he goes in, wheels me in for the thing, and he looks like you're 49. I'm like, how are you fucking looking this up right now? So he goes, I think maybe you're just upset about a guy. Your abdomen looks fine from the outside. What, you guys? An hour later, the shift change doctor was like, yeah, you're having an appendicitis. And I was like, fuck! And so they took out my appendix a few hours later, and then I came home from the hospital a few days later, and I told Tracy I was there. He offered to come out and take care of me. I almost took him up on it, except nobody was vaccinated, and it was LA, and we were a hot spot. So I didn't let him, but then he came out the next year for his follow-up doctor's appointment, and I was a nervous mess going to see him. We were going to meet up at a Starbucks in Westwood, and I got dressed the fuck up, and I was so nervous. I was so worried that he was with somebody else, even though I didn't want to be with him. I didn't want him to be with anyone else. I didn't want to hear about it if he was with anyone else, but I still wanted to let maybe me be with other people. It's a very, very confusing place to be when you still in love with someone and you're not really supposed to be with them. So we met, we connected, we hung out, we extended it in the same thing. We're like, oh, let's hang out further. We went from Starbucks to Fox Hills Mall, is what we used to do together. And then we went, the next day he came over and we hung out and nothing happened. It was very chill. But there was still a lot of feelings there. And I was like, how the fuck do you work this out? Spoiler, you guys, it's not all wrapped up in a pretty bow. It just isn't. That's not how things work. That's not how life works. I'm still in love with him, but I don't feel like I should be with him, and I kind of want to hook up with other people, but I don't want him to. That doesn't sound healthy. I don't think it's healthy. I gotta take it back. It doesn't seem healthy. I say it now, and it really doesn't sound healthy. It doesn't. But it really doesn't. And that's like the weird truth of it. Like I still have a fantasy of I wish we'd be together, but I just really don't think that makes sense. And we're together in our 20s, we're together in our 40s, maybe we've got another chapter together in our 60s, I don't really know. I kind of take a nod from the Kardashians in this moment, and I consider him family. He's family. I'm going to love him forever. There's a piece of me in him. So we're connected in some way till the end of time. And I feel like I gave him, obviously, a fantastic gift, potentially the gift of life. But, like, the whole experience was, gifting clarity to me. Like, what is important? And it's me and my mental health. You know what I mean? Like, that is important. And the pandemic just reiterated that to me, and it also helped me realize the other things I was missing, which was live music. You guys, how much did we miss live music in the pandemic? I missed it so much. I missed hugging my friends. It was hard to be single and kind of lonely during the pandemic. I missed eggplants. Like, I'm actually referring to the emoji representation, not the slimy vegetable. I know it's confusing because I'm a vegetarian, but I came out of the pandemic vaxxed and thirsty and ready for some new dick energy, right? Yes. So I went on Hinge like a normal person, and I had a few dates set up, and then it was about the third or fourth date with this one guy, and I was like, okay, this is about to happen, so it's time to groom my Garden of Eden, because I had let her go. So it took a few passes, but I finally got to it, and y'all, I found out that I have 3 different colors of pubic hair. Say hello to my calico kitty. Right? So I dated this husband, and well, the first time we were going to hook up, and I said, we need a condom. I'm not sleeping with someone without a condom unless we're in a relationship. And he tore his place apart looking for a condom. It was cupboards, drawers, everything. He finally just did a mad dash to 7-Eleven and came back. And got the magnums. And so it was great, it's fine, everything still works. And then the next time we hooked up, he's like, yeah, he goes, you know what? He goes, I'd like to be in a relationship with you. And I was like, I think you meant to say you want to fuck without a condom. I think that's what you meant to say. But I'm still out there trying to figure it out. You guys know I've been a vegetarian for 20 years, and recently I became a vegan, and I think I did that mainly because dairy made me shit. Okay, that was a new thing for me. And if anyone has any questions, I was like, I'm a vegetarian. I'm like one of the most annoying people ever, but I was like, how can I be more annoying? I became a vegan. Yes. So one of my new superpowers, besides shitting my pants, is being able to talk about and bring up vegan cheese into every conversation. Yes. Misha's for the win. Watch me work in the lobby after the show. It is a work of art. And I've been playing the trumpet for 20-some years now, right? 40 years is a long time. I started playing, and I took a 20-year break, and I'm still going because my parents are not music quitter, okay? And they wouldn't let me quit. That's the other thing, too. Because I want to leave you with a little something that I highly recommend, because it's hard sometimes getting out of the house. It's hard sometimes coming out in the world, especially after the pandemic. Sometimes it's a lot easier to come out in the world if you rub one out real quick, okay? Now, it's not your typical, like, oh, pleasure sex, let's get it on. This is a utilitarian nut. I call it a utility nut, okay? So let's say you've got to go to Santa Monica and go to an open mic. You're like, oh, let me rub one out real quick before I get another 4 or 5. It's so much less annoying. You're so much better off in person after that, right? So let's say, oh my God, I've got to go to a baby shower now, and I'm like, la 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 la, I'm both out, right? I'm telling you, it's a utility nut. Bust it up before you leave the house. You will thank me later, okay? It's the best thing you can do. And I did that joke at a show up in the Palisades, thank you, and a guy came up to me afterwards, and he was like, oh my God, yeah, I love that joke. I jacked off in the car on the way here. I was like, that's not what